Stoughton Media Access Corporation is pleased to present International Forum, a new cable show of interest, periodically interviewing foreign newsmakers, bringing them from across the ocean directly to your living room. Here's your host for this week's show, Steve Kelley.
Welcome to the show. Again, my name is Steve Kelley, and I'm here with Aaron Policow. And Aaron is a student at University of Delaware, and he comes right straight from Stoughton, Mass. So Aaron, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Okay. And how did you decide to go down to University of Delaware?
So, I was always really confused where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to go out of state. I knew I wanted to go somewhere big. So I definitely looked in like the New York, Philadelphia, southern area. And I applied to Syracuse, I applied to Rutgers, and I applied to Delaware. My parents were like, oh, just apply to Delaware. It's in the area. So I said, okay. I didn't really know much about it. And then I visited it, and I got into all three of them, and I just chose Delaware because it clicked with me. I didn't really feel it with Syracuse. I didn't really feel it with Rutgers, but with Delaware, it worked for me. So I'm here, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. And I think the reason we're interviewing you today is some of the success that you're having on campus, and that relates to something called U-Dance. Can you tell us about U-Dance?
So U-Dance is this fundraiser that Delaware does. It started in 2007. It's a story about this boy named Andrew McDonough, and it was 2007. He plays soccer. He played like 4 soccer games in one day, and then all of a sudden he went into cardiac arrest. He was diagnosed with leukemia. The hospital called him the sickest boy in the hospital, and they really highlighted on his B+ attitude. They called it a B+ attitude, so it turned into the B+ Foundation. And then in 2009, Delaware sort of hooked up with him because he originated from Wilmington, Delaware. So we sort of partnered with him, and now we do this thing called U-Dance, where we do an all-year fundraiser, and then on March 23rd of every year, we do this all-day dance marathon where we bring in kids who have childhood cancer, and we celebrate and we make them feel on top of the world for a day. As far as statistics, in 2007, we only raised $8,000, but in 2013, we raised $550,000. So, of course, this year we're hoping to raise even more than that.
Now, how did you come? There's a lot of charities in the world. There's a lot of work. You're probably doing a lot of work down on campus as well. How did you end up sort of stepping into U-Dance?
Well, I give credit to my fraternity that I joined last semester. My fraternity is Zeta Beta Tau. We like to obviously get involved with many things, and one of them was U-Dance, and they said, hey guys, this is a fundraiser it's a big campus-wide event, so why don't we create a Zeta Beta Tau team and we'll all do it together. So I said, that sounds wonderful. Like, why not do something fun? Why not do something for the community service hours? And it'll probably teach me a lot about being grateful for my life, because here are kids who just want to have a normal childhood and they can't because they have leukemia, they have childhood cancer. So I said, why not get involved with that? Why not have some fun? I'm sure they're wonderful kids. I'd love to meet them, and I'd love to experience how gracious I am to be a healthy individual.
Wow. Tell us a little bit, let's backtrace if we can, like, what was your childhood like?
So mine, I would say, is just like every other child. I played sports, I had friends, but I think I played more sports than usual. I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball, I snowboarded, I skateboarded. And I still snowboard and skate today, and I play baseball today with my friends. Just a normal child, and I had a sister. She's 3 years older than me. She's a senior over at Drexel in Philadelphia. We argued a lot as kids, like any siblings would do. But obviously we don't argue anymore because we're nice and mature. And then as growing up, I learned a lot about what it meant to do good in school, and my parents really helped me out with that too. Knowing that you have to do well in school and you have to really try hard. Nothing in life comes easily. And then as I get older, I realize put more weight on my shoulders. I get a job. I meet more mature friends, and this overall maturing process until I get to college is a big breeze. I'm still in this big transition of college. I feel like I'm not even ready yet, but I'm doing very well, and I'm very happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, you mentioned, we talked a minute off camera, and you mentioned you went to a class this morning already, and to your left was a vacant seat, and to your right was a sort of a person sleeping.
Yes.
And at a cost of some $200 per class, it seems like one had better be ready to go to college and to absorb what the college has to offer to make it worthwhile.
Absolutely. It's so terrible to see, like, if you don't show up to class, like, why are you paying for it? And there's always like, oh, it's 8 a.m. I don't need to go. I'm fine. Like, you think you beat the system, but you need to learn from the professor. The professor gets paid to do what he does. They teach you and they get you involved and they set you on your feet. And to see a kid sleeping, to see a kid not even there is just, I think it's a shame.
Yeah. What do you see yourself moving towards as you let's place you 6 years out from now? You've been graduated for 3 years. Where do you expect to see yourself?
I expect to see myself with a firm, working in the civil engineering industry with a bunch of different engineers and architects. And I definitely see myself working on, large scale structures because civil engineering is my passion. I've always loved building big things as a kid. I loved Legos, all those big, hands-on experience, building things and seeing what you've built. And I definitely see myself with a firm. I see myself, expanding bridges, reinforcing buildings and working as a team with all these people, different, majors just working together. And I've always loved, like collaboration and because you can see other ideas and you can keep an open mind and you can really, discover, you can learn so much from other people, there's only so much you can do by alone.
Right. Now, the idea of U-dance, does that mean that you've got some jive moves or are you?
No, I don't have any more, dance experience than any other kid that's 18 years old. But I just think it's such an amazing. It sounds like so much fun. I mean, why not? Why not have some fun? Why not try to get in touch with your community? Why not, see how grateful it is to be a healthy person and have some fun while you're doing it.
Now, this requires you, from my understanding, once you decide to participate in this challenge, it requires you to get a certain amount of money before you're actually. A certain amount of money for the charity before you're actually allowed to participate. Can you explain that process a little bit?
So we have a statistic. It's 46 kids get diagnosed with childhood cancer per day. So from that, we derived that each potential dancer has to raise $460 under their name. So you have people who donate under your name following the link, and you have to raise that threshold 460 or more to be able to participate as a dancer.
Wow. So maybe now Roy Cohen is our background person who's arranged this interview. Thank you, Roy. Roy, could you put up the contact information for Aaron so that anyone watching the show would be able to find their way to help out? And I'm assuming, Aaron, that $1, $5, $10, whatever anyone is willing to give, right?
I'm extremely grateful for absolutely anything. Anything that can get me closer and closer. Any dollar amount is perfect.
All right, and so I'm just going to read the email, which could be the easiest way for anyone watching the show. It's apolicow at udel.edu. That's University of Delaware. And up top, there's this long string, which if you've got a pencil right now, I'll read it to you quick. It's https://www.udance.org and /udance 2014 part page.aspx ? Participant ID equals 138090. Now what you can do is you can send an email to Aaron and say, Aaron, what was that foolish link that they tried to read on air? So that you can send them to that, and then they can click on that, and then they'll be encouraged or engaged in some form of secure link that allows them to put in a credit card or something of that nature?
Right, and even if you can't follow the link or you can't find my email, I mean, if you just type in UDance in the Google search bar, just U, the letter U, and then dance, it will bring you right to udancedelaware.org, and then you see, all the tabs on the left. You click donate on the left, and then you type in, donate. You type in, it's going to say team or participant name. You just type in my fraternity, which is Zeta Beta Tau, and then you see my name. You click Zeta Beta Tau, and then you'll find my name. You'll see all my team participants, which is, all the brothers in my fraternity, and we're all, racing for this 460 together, and then my name will be right there at the top, Aaron Policow. Click my name, brings me to my name and my total, and then you just donate right under my name.
All right, now Aaron, if somebody wanted to write a check, would that be to UDance or to the charity name?
It would be to UDance.
So you could someone could write a check, UDance, and then care of Aaron Policow?
Yes.
And at University of Delaware?
Right, but obviously the preferred type would be credit card. You just type in donate and then all your credit card information.
Right. Okay, and then hopefully if we can get a few people interested, they can help you
That
to
would be
do
wonderful.
a really wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
Now, the person in question, Mr. McDonough, he's deceased now, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so that leukemia took his life, and they said that his attitude was so exceptional as he went through the treatment
Yes.
that just sort of empowered everybody to remember and to try and do more.
Yes, absolutely. Because it was more that he kept this B. It evolved to this B plus attitude that he was such a positive individual, and so many people looked at him as a role model, and they wanted to spread the word. So as he's in the hospital, they said he was in the hospital for some 167 days. He kept this attitude of it's gonna be okay, I'll be okay, and they had to let people. So they started making T-shirts, and then before you know it, like everybody across the U.S. is learning about this story, of this inspirational story of this kid who keeps a positive attitude. And he's brought down because of leukemia, and originating from Wilmington, Delaware. We hooked right up with him because it's right next to Newark, where I go to school. So the big message is the B Plus Foundation. It's not a grade, it's an attitude, is what they say, and it's a wonderful thing to live by.
Wow. Now, where do you get your leadership inspiration? Because this is a wonderful thing you're doing. Even taking time now, you could be out playing Frisbee or whatever, although you'll be freezing if you do that in Delaware right now. What's your temperature down in Delaware?
14 degrees right now.
Oh, we would wish to have that here in Boston. I think we're about 9
Good old
degrees.
Boston weather is one thing I don't miss about my hometown.
So you could be doing other things, but you decided that you're going to reach out to people, try to make this attempt that you're doing on behalf of Leukemia and UDance to make it successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who are your the people that you look forward or look back to as to what your leadership, how it's been driven within you?
Absolutely, 100% my father. He was a role model to me ever since I was growing up. He was always my coach in baseball. He always helped me with homework, and he just set me on my feet. I find him the wisest person I've ever met, and I think the fact that he's my father and not just somebody that I've met before, I see him and I keep in contact with him every day. He just, everything I know and every way I communicate and my attitude towards life is taken after from him, and I'm just so grateful, to have him. And my mother, of course, is a wonderful woman, but my father was that one person, because I connected him with the gender. We're both males, and it was just, I still do look up to him, and he's my role model, and I always take after him, and he's always pushing me to do more and to never stop. And I think that's where I, give a lot of my leadership credit to, because, now, I'm set on my feet and I'm starting to make decisions on my own. The biggest decision is being at college on your own. And I'm starting to, become what he was when he was my age. And I can pass that on to my children and my children's children.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. I want you to try and think about some of the things that your mom told you that were in your background. I want you to really think and say, like, all right, your dad's got you in the right direction, and your male to male is good. But what about, she must have taught you to do your own laundry or something, right?
No, my mom babied me as a kid. She's a wonderful woman. She was the most well-spoken person I've ever met, and I think that's where I credit my communication skills to, because she's herself is in business industry, and obviously you have to be very well spoken to be a successful business person. She owns her own business, actually.
Oh, give her a plug. Go ahead.
What?
What's the name of the business?
Magical Headdress.
Okay.
But unfortunately, she's giving it up very soon. The fact that me and my sister are both in college, she wants to stop that business. It's dying out a little bit, and she's gonna try to work at a nice part-time job.
Oh, wow, that sounds terrific. So you do credit your parents with putting you in a place that is allowing you to sort of spread your wings.
Yes, they put me in a foundation to thrive, I think, absolutely.
A foundation to thrive. How very nice. And so what else are you doing down there at University of Delaware?
So I'm in my fraternity. I'm focusing on academics, and I actually I applied to be a resident assistant for a freshman dorm for next semester. So a resident assistant is somebody who sort of looks over the hall and makes sure kids are doing the right thing. Everybody's safe, everybody's happy, everybody's an all-inclusive environment. And I applied to be a resident assistant, and you go through 2 interviews, and I did the first interview, and as a good update, I got to the second interview. It's actually on March 5th, so I'm ready to tackle that and to go for it. And I really love that, if I get the job, I'll learn so much about myself. My leadership roles can only, skyrocket from there. It's it's a wonderful opportunity, resume spicer, to feel, efficient, to work efficiently, to sort of, mature even more.
I think that would be a great goal for any colleges if the students engaged in the idea that they should mature even more, right? I think that's great. So tell us a little bit, what kind of courses are you taking there?
So as far as following the civil engineering track, it's really concentrated on math and science courses. I was always really good at math and science in high school, so I figured why not just keep pursuing it. So right now I'm taking chemistry, I'm taking a math class, I'm taking a computer science class, and I'm also for a side track, I'm taking a communications class, which is actually really interesting. And then what was the last one? An intro to civil engineering class.
Wow. So you've got a full deck there in terms of your academics.
My schedule is very packed. It's very packed.
And then you're still able to, you kind of break out and do this U dance thing. Mm-hmm. So I'd actually like to see some of your moves. I don't know. Have you thought about, here you go. Have you thought about taking a dance lesson to kind of break up the monotony of hard academics?
A lot of my dance just is spontaneous. I think that's the best kind of dancing. It's spontaneous, whatever you think of at the moment.
All right. Well, I think that's going to be, it sounds like it's going to be a great adventure for you to go and get to meet these the young people that are afflicted with this disease, and to see what you can do to help engineer a recovery for their families, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us a little bit, as somebody that has, let's say, kids or grandchildren ready to go to college, what's the college experience like when you first arrive?
So for me, it was so traumatic. It's where you first are set on your feet, and for once, you don't have anyone, telling you right or wrong. So it was huge for me because, here I am, like, with academics, and I'm like, wait, like, who's here to help me? Like, I need to reach out to others. Like, they don't come to me. Like in high school, they always remind you to do your homework, and your parents remind you to do this, and you get to college and nobody's there to remind you to do anything. It's all on you to reach out to people. And I feel like it's, as an 18-year-old kid, I feel like I'm not ready for that yet. But I'm very fortunate to know that I think I'm managing it pretty well. But it's, my message is that, learn what it's like to live on your own, and brace yourself for an experience where, the answer to your problems will only be found if you reach out to it. And it's never going to hit you right in the face. You have to absolutely reach out and take it.
Wow, that seems like a good message to give, say, to, if you were to come back to Stoughton High School, is that the kind of thing that you would say to the now seniors, the ones that were juniors to you?
Absolutely. I think that's the most honest opinion that anybody can give about college, is it's all on you. Everything, every single decision, everything that goes on in college goes on, your decisions. And because your parents aren't there, I mean, obviously, it may be different if you went closer to home, but for me, I really wanted to get that experience of living on your own and seeing what it is to grow on your own. So I really wanted to get far away and to see what it was like to sort of grow up.
Right. Now, do you have transportation on campus, or do you bicycle? What do you do?
I use my longboard. I longboard everywhere. Everybody knows me as that kid with the longboard.
Wow. And so you just kind of spin around to the library. You do know where the library is?
Yes, of course I do. That's my second home. Are you kidding me?
Well, it sounds like you've got this sort of successful path. A second home for a library. You got wheels. Now, how do the girls? Do they like that wheel form?
I mean, I think it impresses them. I think it does.
Yeah, good.
It's fun. It's such a fun way to sort of look forward to everything you're doing. It makes me cut down time. It's so efficient. I can get from my campus, 15,000 kids. I can get across campus in 10 minutes.
Wow. Now, do you have a goal of being in the top 10% of your class? Is that like an honor roll system? What do they have?
Absolutely. Maybe I'm in over my head, but of course I'm not going to give up. I'm here for academics. I'm here to try as hard as I possibly can. This is crunch time. This is time where this, in a way, it will decide my future. I need to be successful, and I know I need to be successful. My parents told me I need to be successful, and I try as hard as I can. And I know I'm going to strive as high as I can. And, maybe I don't get top 10%, but either way, I know I gave it, the hardest I could ever try, and I learned so much about myself. going out of high school, I never thought I could push myself as hard as I did. And college just gave a new meaning to, difficulty in academics. And it only taught me, to grow stronger and grow thicker skin and to motivate myself even more.
Great. You mentioned about working on bigger projects, and I have a concern. We talked a little bit earlier off camera about the social engineering that's required for you to do engineering and build more bridges and greater things. I think the social contract here in America has to change so that the social engineering for affordability, for sustainability, will allow you to get a job that builds big things. Can you think about that for a little bit?
I feel like, yeah, like engineers too often, they just sit in the lab and they work on their math and science all day. But for kids like me, like you need to be well-rounded. You can't just only be heavily weighted on math and science. Like for me to be well communicated, I would hate for that to go to waste if I can't, do something in a social area, social aspect of engineering. I mean, a big part of engineering is communicating with other firms and communicating with companies to sort of get you, the contract to even build in the first place. And I absolutely think that every engineer should have some aspect of well communication to be able to do that, because that only makes you a better engineer. It only makes you a better person to know more, to be a better sculpted person, I think.
Yeah, I think there's an aspect of what I was trying to reach to you about is that as a society, we may not be able to afford to do what we've done in the past. The idea of a Golden Gate Bridge or something like that. Even rebuilding existing structures is going to become more and more difficult unless we re-engage the public with a different social contract.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think it's so crazy to see like how things have changed. I feel like everything was just so much easier when it was. Now things are so much harder. It all relates back to how the economy it doesn't allow anybody to thrive anymore. You have to be a whiz kid to be able to make it somewhere like these days. I think it's just a shame. It was so much easier. Like you have so many kids who are so smart and they just can't make it to a college, or they can't make it in life because they don't have the money for it. And financial aid doesn't get them on their feet enough. It's selfish, I think.
So do you have any interest in politics, either at the school level or outside of that?
I just never really saw myself that way. I don't know. I just never really was interested in the government. I mean, of course I have a nice, solid background about it. I know what goes on. I never found it interesting. I always found, problem solving and puzzles, and I always found that so much more interesting. And I think, hands-on, testing chemicals and solving problems I think that's where my passion lies.
Well, don't give up on government yet, because I think that some of the most complex problems in society are going to have to be solved through government.
Yeah.
So if you like problem solving, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
I'm not very convincing, I see.
I'm pretty dead set, but I understand what you're saying. And my dad brought that up to me before because we talk about politics all the time. He always watches the news. And he always, when I was finishing high school, he would always say, like, how about politics? Or how about a history teacher? How about this? And I would always say, no, Dad, I'm going to stay. And he just wanted to make sure I was dead set. That's all he was doing. He's just making sure I was really, really, sure that I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I think I've never been more sure in a decision my entire life.
Oh, I think that's terrific. Tell us now, how much money have you raised for UDance? We're going to switch over to UDance again, and
Sure.
What you can do to help with leukemia patients.
So I have $326 raised, and it's very well, but I'm almost there. I mean, I need to get to 460. I think it's like a week before March 23rd because I need to set out everything. I'm hoping to meet and exceed it. I'm hoping to exceed it, actually.
Okay, and then when you reach the minimal level, right, the threshold level that they have, they notify you, and then they give you a time that you're going to be there. And are you going to dance for 8 hours, or what was it?
It's a 12-hour dance event. So by participating in UDance, you sort of pledge that you will stay on your feet from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. It's sort of like the shindig that goes along with UDance. Like, you become a dancer, you're going to be on your feet for 12 hours, and it's just a huge festival. All these kids, all this food and memorabilia, and just so much fun and like happiness in the air. And you're so happy to know that like you're there with kids who could easily, sit and mope the rest of their life because of how they're turning out. But UDance is sort of a way of, keeping them back into life and saying, like, breathing them back in and saying, listen, there's more to life than sicknesses. It's having fun, and look at all these people, you know, they feel like heroes for a day.
Right, and is the event held right at University of Delaware?
Yes, it's at the campus, and they have like people, they have a film crew, they make a video every year, and it's a big, nice, awesome video, and I can't wait to be in it. I honestly just can't wait to have some fun.
Wow, and so they must give you the day off from homework, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's on a Saturday too, so I'll try to, you know, work hard that whole week. That way I don't have to work on Saturday, because I'll definitely be tired the day after.
All right. Now, if you can hold for a second, Aaron, our producer, Roy, has, I think, maybe one or two messages. Roy, I think perhaps we just want to thank Maxie's Delicatessen. No, just like that, yeah, just to thank them for supporting us here in Stoughton. You remember Maxie's at all, Aaron?
Oh, my God, Maxie's Deli. The best. I know the owner. I was best friends with the owner's son.
Oh,
His name is
okay.
Garrett. He was my childhood friend. I loved Maxie's Deli. It was so yeah. Honestly, and nothing better than just like a really nice restaurant where you know all the employees and you know everybody. You go there and you see people from your town. It's just I loved it.
Look, you have a future in promos, Aaron. That was perfect.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a huge advocate for them because they were, you know, a Jewish, so everything, it just worked. It felt right. It was a good place.
Okay, well, that's terrific, and we really appreciate they support us, and they help us to do programs like this one, where we can go out and find people like yourself, Stoughton roots, and go out into the world and make their way in the world, and hopefully do good things the way you've been doing on the leukemia work.
Yeah, I can only hope. I just can't wait all I want to do is make a difference.
All right, and I also want to thank Leo McGowan, who's a volunteer. He's doing his own form of good work. Roy Cohen's a volunteer, is doing that. And Mike Hammond, who's helped us a lot as the executive director here at SMAC, he does the above and beyond his workload as he tries to fulfill everybody's wishes here at the studio. So we have just about 35 seconds or so left, Aaron. How do you want to close the show?
I want to thank everybody for watching, and I want to say, even if you don't donate, at least now you're aware of what it's like. And I think anybody can make it in life. It's just a matter of how hard you try. I think absolutely.
Well, that's a wonderful message, and I like the fact, too, that for those who perhaps aren't in a position to contribute, just an appreciation and an awareness is just a wonderful thing, and that you appreciate even that they're spending some time hearing your story.
That's all it is.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your mission,
hey,
at least
this year. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate everything. You're a great person.
That wasn't the point, but thank you so much. All right, wishing you the best at school.
Thanks a lot.
This is Roy Cohen, producer and director of the International Forum Show. Thank you for watching, and we welcome your comments to our email address, international.forum@yahoo.com. Good evening.